If you want to, or if you can, make sure to go and support me on my Ko-Fi page, TikTok, and on my itch.io page. Links are all in the description below. So one day, I was scrolling on the website Bolha. If you don't know what Bolha is, it's basically Facebook Marketplace or eBay, but for the Slovenian market. And I was browsing through there, as I usually do, because I do that from time to time just to see, if I can find any nice deals on parts or anything similar. And then, boom, I see it on a Radeon RX 480 Sapphire Nitro 8GB OC edition. And at first, when I saw the name, I was like, okay, this has to cost like 200, 300 bucks, even if it's used, it still should cost around 200 bucks or something like that. I go in there, 40 euros. I click on the page, I click on the listing, and I see the price, 40 euros. And my eyes just drop. And I was like, no, like, this can't be real, right? I mean, this has to be some kind of placeholder price or something, This can't be the final price. And then I scroll down on the listing, and it says it's the final price. And I was absolutely shocked, I mean, on one side, I was extremely shocked and happy that I managed to find a deal like this. But on the other hand, I still had some suspicion because, such a car like this that usually sells for like 200 euros used and like 300, 400 euros brand new, I think, you would be suspicious as well too, right? I mean, that's like if someone sold you a Bugatti Veyron for like 1,000 euros, there would be a lot of suspicion there. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to miss out on the deal, maybe this is actually a legitimate seller and the card actually works and whatnot, and I really don't want to miss out on this deal. So I contacted the seller and we instantly got into contact, we instantly arranged a meeting, and a few days later we met up, I got the GPU, I took a look at it while we were there to check for any physical damage. There was no physical damage, the GPU was only very, very dusty from what I could tell was extreme use, although I don't know, it could have been just the GPU sitting around since he did say that it wasn't really used that much, but I am quite suspicious right there because of all the dust that was built up on like the GPU cooling block and on the fans, but maybe it was just from sitting around, who knows. But anyhow, I checked for physical damage, there was no physical damage, and I gave him the money, I bought it, and once I got home, I instantly opened it up and cleaned it, and oh my goodness, this GPU was probably one of, if not the dirtiest GPUs I have ever bought. And it was to be expected. It was a used GPU that was sitting around there for a long time, so I didn't expect it to be, glamourly clean or whatever, but it was because it looked a lot cleaner on the pictures, and it kind of set me off when I got it all grimy and dusty like this. But anyhow, after I got the GPU and cleaned it up, it was time to let it dry off and then put it inside the PC, which was extremely nerve-wracking because the size of this card was insane. Like, I legitimately thought that the card would not fit inside of the PC. When I first tried it inside, like, it genuinely would not fit, but then I found out it was just my awful cable management inside of the PC, and once I did, remanage the cables and move them a bit to the side, the GPU went in, but it was like barely inside. Like, if the GPU was like a bit bigger, it probably would not have fitted inside of the case, and I probably would have needed to find another case or try to like test it externally, which would have ended quite horribly. But anyhow, while we're talking about the GPU size, let's talk about the visuals of the GPU, how it looks, its looks, its size, and similar. This GPU looks really good. Like, yeah, it is a shame that I didn't get that version with the cool backplate and whatnot, but to be honest, this GPU looks really good. Like, even without the backplate, this GPU looks insanely good. Like, I really like how it has this sort of gamey style, like a sort of gamer style, without being too overpowering on that gamer style. And I really respect Sapphire for not just making this card look overly gamer and, overpowering it with all sorts of visuals and all sorts of effects and whatnot, And I really like how they just stick to a simple black design with like some bubbles, some stripes, you know, a cool little sapphire logo on the side and stuff like that. You know, what you would typically see from these kinds of cars at around the time. But anyhow, after that, the port selection. The ports on this GPU are absolutely insane. I mean, coming from an RX 550, which only has like around 3 or 4 ports, you have 2 display ports, 2 HDMI ports, and 1 DVI port, which is really to be respected. Because I mean, they could have just went lacking with the ports, but no, they went all in with the ports, even adding DVI, which for cards like this you wouldn't really expect to get DVI. But yeah, look at that DVI right there. You can even plug in your old DVI monitor if you wanted to. So the performance of his GPU is absolutely insane. It blew away any expectations I had. I mean, when I saw the specs, I expected some really good results, but I did not expect results like this. I expected good results, but I never expected results like this on this GPU. And I mean, this GPU absolutely flew me away, even with an undervolt. And yeah, I did have to undervolt it because I, at the time, did not have an 8-pin connector or a PSU or a PSU with an 8-pin connector. So I was directly using the 6-pin connector, which is just fine. You can still use your 6-pin connector. It's just that you do have to slightly undervolt the GPU so that it doesn't completely fry the connector and the cables. But even with an undervolt, this GPU managed to pull amazing results. Even with all the limitations and undervolts and whatnot, this GPU still managed to pull these amazing results on all of these games. Whether it's more demanding games that we've tested out like BeamNG Drive or Forza, whether it's less demanding games like Buckshot Roulette or Cluster Truck or other similar games. And so yeah, overall, what are my final thoughts on this GPU? Well, my final thoughts on this GPU are that this GPU is absolutely amazing. Its looks are great, its performance is amazing, its specs are great too, the selection of ports also absolutely amazing, and overall, I did not have a single issue in terms of drivers or support or anything similar with this card. And for 40 euros, this card is an absolute steal. One of the biggest bargains I've ever had in my entire life so far. And so my final rating for this GPU is an absolute 9.5 out of 10. You deserve it, champ. Good job.